for her. Maybe like.
Hey guys, Yasmin and Jackie here at the Parlor Salon. Here with Lauren Bixler.
Hi.
The glare's kind of weird.
Sorry, I'll move forward a little bit.
Yeah,
Hi,
there she
everybody.
is. So she's going to show you, we're going to show you guys, or she is going to show you how to curl your hair using a curling iron, what the latest look and trend with the curls on her straight hair, and then she's going to show you also how to curl your hair using a flat iron. So 2 different ways and 2 different irons, and then she's going to recommend a couple products, and I have pictures of the products for you guys so you can get them online. If you're here in San Diego, we will be having them at our salon, the Parlor Salon in Encinitas. So we'll just wait a couple seconds, and then Lauren's just going to set up here. And hey guys, thank you for joining. All right, Lauren, so let's get started. I'm going to turn this and give her the mic so she can start explaining how to do it for you guys. There you go.
Sorry, we need help.
It created a hole. There we go.
All right. I'm gonna turn.
Hi, everybody. Beautiful Lauren. Just going to show you guys here. I'm going to get in front of her. All right,
So
Lauren.
it's actually pretty easy. I think a lot of people put a lot more thought into doing like the beachy wave or just very like unkept, undone hair. Basically, all you need is a clip and a curling iron or a flat iron. I get the question a lot, like, what's better to use, a curling iron or a flat iron? Honestly, it's just kind of personal preference. So whatever you find is easier on your hair and just manipulating it, go ahead and use that. I used to be all about the curling iron, but I think I'm starting to like introduce a little bit more of the flat ironing. I like to mix it up every now and then. So I've already prepped my hair with Icon Welder, which is a
You should, show the pic.
which is a heat protectant. So this is from the product line called Evo. It's an Australian line. It's not necessarily organic, but it is more along the natural side. They try to use as little synthetics as possible. So this goes on dry hair.
We have our first person. Hey, Margaret, how are you?
Hi. So the Icon Welder goes on dry hair. It is a wet spray, so usually I just kind of spray it all over, let it dry for like a second, and then I'll go in and start the curling process. So I'm going to do one side with a flat iron and one side with a curling iron.
Cool.
So let's go ahead and start with the curling iron.
And with the flat iron, guys, if you're not comfortable with a flat iron, what's going to make you comfortable is practicing. So practice, practice, practice. Just don't burn yourself.
So I usually like to start with my hair parted down the middle. I flip my part back and forth, and I feel like if I part it down the middle and I flip it, I get a little bit more volume. And that way it just kind of keeps everything even. So I'm going to do this side first. All I'm going to do is I'm going to section.
Here, I'll go on this side, actually. Okay. I'm just going to do a little flip over. Okay.
I'm going to section this side of my hair in half. So I have a bottom half and a top half. And I'm just going to clip that away. So I'm going to take my curling iron. The clamp, everything around the hairline, your clamp goes on the front because you want to curl it away from your face. It opens up the face, it facial features and everything. It's a little bit more natural to have the curls going back. And then once I finish that front section around the hairline, then I alternate back and forth.
Cool.
So I'm going to take all the hair in front of my ear. Clamp goes on the front, and I'm just going to stick it halfway through the hair.
Lauren, how hot do you have the iron?
It's probably medium to medium high.
Okay.
And so all I did was rotate one time and then pull it out the bottom. So as you can see, I didn't curl the ends. I want those ends to stay straight. You can kind of tug on your curls if you feel like they're getting too curly. So now this next section, I'm going to curl the opposite direction. So now my clamp's going on the back. I'm going to stick it halfway through the hair, make one rotation. You can hold it for 20 seconds or not. I don't want my hair to fall off. If any of you guys have seen that YouTube video, it's hilarious.
Awful.
So this one went forward. So when I kind of brush my fingers through it, it gives a little bit more like different textures where the hair is moving back and forth. It's not all going to clump together because I curled it all in the same direction. So now I'm just going to let down that top bit.
So you do 2 separate sections?
Yeah, just
okay.
a bottom and a top.
Okay.
It makes it a little bit easier that way. So I'm going to take the front. Now, nobody wants like curly bangs. So don't like this front piece right where your bangs are, like leave the curling iron in for like maybe 3 seconds.
Okay.
Like just enough to create a little soft bend. So halfway through the hair, 1 rotation.
So now the head's pointing down? So now you're pointing the...
Yeah, and you don't have to do that.
Okay.
That's just like my preference. It can get a little bit tricky if you're trying to reach over the head, so you can do it from underneath.
Okay.
So as you saw, I really didn't leave it in very long, and I just want this like kind of floppy, like little bit of a wave.
Yeah.
So right behind that, now the clamp's gonna go on the back, so I'm gonna curl the opposite direction. 1 rotation. So keep these ends out. And try not to bring your curling iron up too high. So you don't want it up here. You want to keep it kind of parallel to your face.
Okay.
Because if you lift it up too high and then you drop it, it gets a little funky. And I'm just going to keep alternating. So I did clamp on the front here, clamp on the back, and now I'm going to do clamp on the front again.
Lauren, will you ask them if they can hear you?
Can you guys hear me?
Can you guys reply and comment below if you can hear her, please? Hey guys, thank you for joining. Please comment below. If you can hear us, please comment saying yes, I can hear you. Just making sure.
Nobody's heard anything we've said.
No, we don't know.
Nobody said anything?
No, they're watching. They're watching.
Great, great.
Yeah.
So that's how you do it with a curling iron. And this is just one way of creating like the beachy waves. There's another way that I've been kind of playing with, which if you guys follow a lot of hair people on Instagram, you may not. Obviously, I'm a hairdresser, so I do. You see a lot more people creating like kind of like a finger wave type pattern mixed with curls, which I think is kind of cool. So I'm going to kind of show you that on this side, just because I feel like the flat iron does a really good job of creating that S pattern or the finger wave type pattern. When I curl my hair, a lot of the times what I'm thinking is like, what does a kid's hair look like? Like if I went to the beach and I looked at a bunch of kids, what does their hair look like? Like I feel like children have the best hair. You never see a kid with frizzy hair. It's just always like perfect and beautiful. Yeah. The color is always awesome. So whenever I'm thinking of styling or even coloring, I'm always thinking of like, what is the most natural looking type of hair? So for the flat iron, same kind of thing. So with the flat iron, I usually do 3 sections instead of 2. So I'm just going to take that bottom little part. And if you have shorter hair like me, where it's kind of like a long bob, I really don't worry too much about the back. I just curl like the top layer. The underneath will get covered by that top hair. Whereas if you have long hair like Yasmin, you can curl all the way from the bottom. Just if you clip it away, it makes it a lot easier. So I'm going to use my flat iron. It's like a 1-inch flat iron. You want to keep a smaller one. You can't do this with a giant fat one. I mean, I guess you could, but I wouldn't. The temperature of this is about 375. I wouldn't go too much higher. Flat irons tend to get super, super hot, and I think most flat irons get close to like 450 degrees these days. So keep it closer to 375 because it will maintain the integrity of your hair, especially if you're doing this on a daily basis or a fairly frequent basis. So I'm going to take this horizontal section, so I have like a sheet of hair, and I'm just going to put it in, and I'm just going to do one little flip, and then try not to burn your fingers, and then I'm going to flip it the other way, and then I'm going to flip it the other way. So I've created like this kind of wavy thing going on. And if I feel like that's like too wavy and I don't like it, I just quickly run my flat iron over some of the pieces that I feel like are too wavy. And obviously this is going to relax, so I almost kind of want it a little more exaggerated than I'm going to wear it the other side. Okay. So just this bottom section is kind of that wavy, and all I did was flip it up, then flip it down, and then flip it up. Okay. So it's kind of like a flick of the wrist. So now I'm going to take down my neck section. And I'm going to mix the two. So I'm going to actually curl a piece, and then I'm going to do the wavy thing on another piece. So again, this very front little hair just to open up my face. I'm going to put the flat iron and just like the curling iron halfway around the hair. I'm going to make one rotation, and I'm just going to pull it out. So when you're curling with the flat iron, the slower you pull it out, the curlier the curl. So like I'll show you a really curly curl, which will not look cute. But like if I took this piece, put it halfway in, made one full rotation, and like pull it out super, super slow like that, I get like a way curlier piece than this soft piece. Which is fine. You can totally do that. I just prefer to have them a little bit softer. So again, same thing. If you feel like it's too curly, just run your flat iron over it a couple times. And then I'll do the same thing. So flip one rotation, and I just pull it out really fast, still leaving out those ends. So right as you are about to get to the end, just let go of your flat iron. And you might see like you'll get some ridges or weird things. The hair is going to relax, and all those ridges are going to go away. So now I'm going to drop down my last section. So this front piece, put it in halfway, one little rotation, and just let it go. And I'm not really breaking up the curls that much as I'm going, because if you let your curls cool, it will actually last better. Whereas if I start like raking through it as soon as I curl it, my curl's gonna be gone pretty fast. So I usually, when I'm doing this at home, I curl my entire head without touching any of the curls. And then once it's all cooled and it's not hot anymore, I run my fingers through it and I'll put my texture spray in, which I'll talk about.
Stephanie just joined. Stephanie Erickson Dennis.
Hi, Stephanie. She's my favorite. So this piece, I'm gonna do the wavy. So I'm going to flip it up, then I'm going to flip it down, and then I'm going to flip it up. And just create like that fun little wavy. So like if you look at it, it really doesn't look like I went in and I like perfectly curled every piece. Like the point of beachy wavy hair is for it to look not perfect. Which like I said earlier, I feel like so many people just they get stuck in their head like it has to be perfect. As soon as you get that out of your head and you're just curling, and it doesn't matter which way, whether it's front or back, or you forget, that's usually when you get the best looking hair. So now that I've curled, so this was the curling iron, this was the flat iron. For the back, what I normally do is, so I've already done the front, is I'll just grab chunks of hair. So I'll like grab this chunk here. I have no idea which side I did before, but just like let those pieces out. This one I'll do the same thing. Just try not to burn your fingers. Oh, my flat iron got turned off. Perfect.
Yeah.
I love when that happens.
Pull them forward so you can see to the side.
Yeah, and because I flip my hair, so I never wear my hair parted down the center because I don't like it.
Yeah.
I just don't look good with it. Most people do. So I've got it curled, so then I can just mess it up.
And then show us the product that you use for after.
So after, I use a product called Shebang-A-Bang.
Okay.
And this is a spray, it's a dry spray wax. And so once I'm done with my style, in order to really get the most texture out of it, I like that because it really like pieces out these ends. So you can see like the curls are kind of layering on top of each other, which gives more volume and makes it look bigger. Because when you saw it parted down the center, it still looked kind of flat. So it just gives me like this fullness around the face. And then these little pieces, I like them to kind of stick out. So the Shebang-A-Bang helps that. And what that does is, it's not waxy, so it won't weigh the hair down. It kind of puts air into the hair, so it makes it appear bigger. It's not a hairspray, so it won't like make the hair not move. You can totally put your hands in it and mess it up. I feel like you should touch your hair. I don't think like you should just not touch it, especially if you have kind of messy, you want messy hair. The more you touch it, the more it kind of like gets lived in. But basically what I'll do is I'll flip my head upside down. I'll spray my Shebang-A-Bang, which we don't have here, and then flip it up. And it will feel a little bit tacky at first, and most texture sprays do. They have kind of that gritty feeling. But over time it just dissipates, and then I can restyle or touch it up, whatever I feel like I need to do.
Cool. All right, guys. All right, Grit. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
If you guys have any other suggestions on what videos you want to see, whether it's hair or makeup, let us know and we'll put out some more content. All right.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.